Welcome back everyone to another video of World of Warship Legends. I'm Big Sip, and today we're taking a look at the new American alternative line Tier 7 battleship, Kansas. In the background here we have a game of domination on the Atlantic. And before we get too far, let's take a look at the commander build first. For this I am running a 100% accuracy build, and that means I'm going to be pulling William Sims with inspirations of Cunningham and A.L. Scharnhorst. For the actual skills on Sims, I'm going with Flammable Cannoneer, Gyrating Drill Bits, get every little bit of damage out of those AP shells as possible, Marksmanship, Reaching Out XXL, Will to Rebuild as a legendary, and honestly I think I'm really liking this build so far with this ship. So with that in mind, here are the stats of the Kansas. One of the heaviest hitters in the game when it comes to a single salvo. This thing carries 4 turrets, 3 guns each, for a total of 12 guns at 406 millimeters. They have a range of 18.8 kilometers, so a little bit on the shorter side compared to the other Tier 7 American battleships. One of the big negatives is the reload time, 38 seconds to reload. HE has a max damage of 5,700 with a 36% fire chance, and then AP has a max damage of 13,640. So if you do the math on that, 13,640 times 12, you have a lot of potential damage flying through the air. As for the ship itself, it comes in at 69,240 health points. AA defense is phenomenal, like many of the other American battleships, coming in at a rating of 95. Max speed, one of the other downsides of this ship, 23.2 knots, and a rudder shift of 16.5 seconds. So it doesn't move fast, it doesn't move very agilely, so positioning is going to be key with this boat. On the consumable side, you get your damage con, 3 heals, and 3 spotter planes. And those spotter planes are going to be very important because you got to make the shots count. But right here we get to look at what the guns can do, and right there, absolutely perfect salvo, knocking out the York. And you saw earlier we spawned right here in front of B, we pushed up a little bit, and then we kind of turned back around, kited away. But I don't want to get too far away from the battle since it takes this ship so long to move across the map. Doing these little micro movements back and forth, changing your positioning, changing your firing angles is going to be extremely important, because if you go the wrong direction even for 30 seconds to a minute, you're going to find that you're out of the battle for a very long time, and it's going to be a big detriment to your team. So positioning is going to be absolutely key. So here you see the majority of the red team due north of us. We have a decent amount of support to the east, a lot of support down to the west, and that west team is starting to move in. So what I want to do now is I just want to continue dealing damage and take some fire while those blue ships get in there and take the Bravo position. So far I have roughly 30 games in this ship. I bought it day 1 of the new update, and I didn't like it at first, but it's slowly growing on me. I had to really adjust to what its strengths are. The turrets get disabled fairly easily, especially when you're going up against similarly sized guns. That is one negative. Of course, the speed is a huge negative because it becomes such a big sponge for damage, especially if you have one of the HE slinging cruisers out there. This thing is going to just attract so much damage. It's going to be really frustrating if you find yourself overextending and getting into the range of multiple HE slingers. Taking a look at the armor viewer here, it is decently well armored. You have 32mm bow and stern armor, 40% torpedo reduction, so it has a good torpedo protection. And then right here you'll see the Citadel sits right at or just slightly below the waterline. So it's going to be a difficult ship to Citadel unless you're sitting completely broadside, and one of the definite keys to remember when driving this ship. Digging into the game now, taking a look, we have a significant ship advantage. The enemy is down 8-6, and their remaining ships are 5 battleships and a cruiser. This really is the perfect matchup for this ship, because it's going to be able to sling out high amount of damage. And right here, you know, positioning was key. I've made sure to stay in the center position, but I don't want to group there with the rest of the guys in B because it gives me these type of situations where I can get the crossfires. So right there at 20,000 salvo. And at this point, what I want to do is I'm going to angle away, use that armor to reduce any of the potential damage coming in from the Bismarck. Fortunately though, since they are completely bow on towards me, their secondaries aren't firing. Remember, the secondaries will only fire when there's a slight angle towards the ship, because you really need to get the sides showing to let the secondaries have an angle. So right here, thinking this was a kill shot, probably misaimed it a little bit, but you see we did connect on several of the shells, but only half overall. So that is one thing I do think this ship lacks on. Just the accuracy's a little bit weird compared to the other American battleships. And it's something I've adjusted a little bit, and it's not too bad now that I'm used to it. But something definitely to keep in mind when you take this thing out for the first couple times and you just get in the feel for it. Here, fortunately, the Bismarck completely ignores us, doesn't pay us much attention. So we're going to just slightly turn left here, get all 4 guns, point it right at the tip of the bow, and let them fly. Fortunately, that's going to end the Bismarck's life. And now things are starting to even up a little bit. We only have a 1-ship lead. Fortunately, though, we do have 2 destroyers, 2 cruisers, but we're really lacking when it comes to the big guns. We're definitely down on that part. So it's going to be really key keeping the battleships alive at this point. You saw there was nearly a full health Tirpitz due north of us, so that's going to be a big issue that we'll have to address. But at this point, again, I don't want to get too far away from the action. You see the red team has turned away, so I need to get back into position to support these destroyers here. Right there, we do see the ship right in the top of the sea cap. So I'm going to go ahead, start turning, try to get all 4 guns on target again. But the key with this ship is to keep it on the move. Since the rudder shift is so terrible, I make sure to get it back into a neutral position before I fire. That way, as soon as I do fire, I can turn either to go bow in or start kiting away. But I don't want to fire a shot when I'm fully engaged on the rudder. Right here, Tirpitz coming around, able to get all 12 guns on target. And no citadels, and kind of a disappointing grouping there. You saw they were a little bit spraying, and that's what I'm talking about with the accuracy. So that is one thing you need to take into account. But again, since you do have 12 guns, the chances of hitting a critical part of the ship are much higher versus, saying, a Georgia that only has 6 total guns. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm making sure to watch which way the Tirpitz guns are pointed. So fortunately though, there is a ship you see just coming out of the north side of B that is much closer, going to be taking the majority of the Tirpitz's attention. And that's key, as it allows me to sit here and unload the main guns. Right there, another 24,000 K salvo. No citadel hits, but that's okay. When you have this many guns and you're getting penetrations, you're going to do a lot of damage just by getting pins. You don't have to get citadel hits. But at this point, I need to make sure that I stay angled to the Georgia. Since the Tirpitz main guns are pointed the other way, I'm going to shift my attention up here. Great play by our destroyer here. Or sorry, the Suzuya, finishing off the Georgia. And so with the big guns gone over there, I'm going to switch over to the Tirpitz. Unfortunately, right there, our destroyer got a little too close. And what seemed like a sure thing just a few minutes ago is starting to get a little bit closer. So the Yukaze, even though they went down, is able to use their torpedoes to finish off the Tirpitz. And now we got to start thinking about the end game. What do I need to do in order to make sure that we win this? So we have a Mogami and a Georgia are the 2 ships that are left. The Georgia has very punishing main batteries. They could probably finish me off without getting a citadel with 1 salvo. So what's going to be key here is making sure that I stay undetected for as long as possible to get in good firing positions to mitigate as much incoming damage, but also deal as much outgoing damage as possible. Right here, seeing a completely broadside my Mogami, I'm thinking this is a dev strike waiting to happen. Unfortunately, it's just overpins galore. I shot a little bit in front of them, and the Mogami also turned in a little bit. A little bit unlucky. But at this point, I'm fairly confident I can finish off this ship. We still have one cruiser, one battleship, and one destroyer. And they're actually doing a great job. They're getting into the sea cap, trying to take it. And what I need to be worrying about right now is the Mogami's torpedoes. This is the perfect angle to get those torpedoes off. But I need to make sure I get my full salvo off first. But you saw that Mogami took a big hit. And we're able to finish them off. So this is great. Now we have a 3 versus 1 ship advantage. And we need to just make sure that we're staying alive. It's going to be on me at this point because I do have the biggest guns. I do have the most health. Unfortunately there, we see the Zara go down. And I was talking about those Mogami torpedoes. Even being mindful, I still run into one of them. Just unfortunate with the terrible rudder shift. But at this point, we have this game won. We have 2 caps to 1. Shouldn't be any issue. Even with the Georgia rolling in, there's such a huge points lead that we don't have to worry about anything. But you'll see right here, we get a little bit closer than we want to. I'm able to get a salvo off here. I was expecting to be spotted here from this angle. But our kid got too close, and then all of a sudden it's fully on me to stay alive in order for us to win this game. And this is where I was talking about the angling and making sure that you know what kind of shells are incoming and mitigating that. So right here, the Georgia shoots a salvo. Fortunately, doesn't look like the accuracy was dead on. And since they did shoot, I'm able to spot them through the smoke. They cannot spot me. So kind of a tactical error there. But we're able to get all 4 guns on target, immediately start turning out, and finish it off. Overall, the Kansas is a fun ship. I hope you guys get a shot at it and enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think. Any questions or concerns, please leave them below. If this is your first time coming to the channel, consider hitting subscribe. We'll have a lot more videos coming at you shortly. Have a good one.